Hi everyone, it's Heather from Loving Our Age. And since I just went through a bout of worrying, I thought I would share this video with you. And it's got 10 tips on how to worry less. Now, most of you know our 14-year-old Yorkie, a lot of you call him Mr. Hurricane, and several days ago he had to go back to the vet for the third time in about 8 weeks, and he wasn't feeling very good at all. And then I found out that little Hurricane has stage 2 kidney disease. He's 14 and a half years old, and his prognosis is 3 months to 1 year. Now, of course, I cried, and I just found myself looking at the little guy and worrying so much about him, and I had to just get out of the spiral. And although we have 4 grown kids, he's definitely our baby. So what we did was we've got him on a new diet. You know, he's got prescriptions, all kinds of different things. And, you know, I had to stop with my number 1 tip. And for me, and this is for me, my number 1 tip is let go and let God. And I just find that really, really helps. And I know that there are some of you out there today who are having a similar situation, not with a pet perhaps, but also with a parent or a loved one. And for me, I just have to let it go. I lost my mom when I was in my 20s, and just recently we've gone through Alzheimer's, and my mother-in-law passed with Alzheimer's. So there's been so many times when I do everything that I can, but I do fall back on to let go and let God. Now, whether let go and let God resonates with you or not, tip 2 is going to help, and that is hope. You know, when they gave me the little prognosis for the little guy here, I thought to myself, 3 months, like that's 12 Saturdays, and I just can't go there. I need to look at hope. It was 3 months to 1 year, so hopefully it's a full year. And I think even with our loved ones, you know, they don't need to see us all in despair, and I mean, they can see a little bit, sure, but not all the time. And I think they deserve to listen to our joy, our collective joy, what, you know, happy times that we're going through, or our smiling face. And I think that hope is something that's just so important as tip number 2. Tip number 3 is try to keep yourself to a schedule. And we walked the dog again today, my husband and I, and every day we walk well, maybe not every day, but we walk the dog for a mile. And you know what? He was just bobbing along like, hey, I'm okay. And a lot of people think he's just a puppy. So stick to the schedule. And if you have loved ones, kind of keep to their feeding schedule, their dinner schedules, that sort of thing. Which brings me to tip number 4, and that is keep busy. Make sure that you are busy, that you're doing something, and that means maybe if you're in the home with them, do a little cleanup. You know, it's really, I don't know, it just really helps. It helps me if I'm cleaning something and making it better. Maybe if you have a job, you know, try to keep to the job. Get personal care workers. That's what we did for my husband's mother. And they came in and changed her diaper and all that sort of thing. And of course, we were there a lot of the time as well. But you've got to take, you know, you've got to be busy with them, yes. But I think you also have to be busy for yourself. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's very, very important that you keep busy and you go to some activities and you go to some events, or maybe you go to a movie. And I think it's very important that you have some help, but you keep yourself busy on other things as well. And for the next few tips, I'm going to talk about other worries, not just illness. And since I can't name them all, let's talk about tip number 5, which is, you know what? 99% of all the worries that we do worry about just don't happen. You know, I remember being worried about, you know, my 4 grown kids, and one of them was going to go and live in another city all the way across the country, and another one was, oh, she was going to go to school in England, and oh my gosh, just worrying. And then 99% of the things don't happen. Heather, what are you doing? And so I decided that's a really good thing to think about. You know, I really take it to a certain level, and then I just let it go, and I just know that it's better for me. It's better for my health. I'm not stressed out all the time, and I don't have that pit in the, you know what I mean? The pit in the center of your stomach. Which brings me to tip number 6. And that is stress. Stress is a silent killer, and you know, I think it brings on all kinds of diseases, and worrying and all of the other things that are involved in worrying, they're probably more dangerous for you than even not eating right or not going for your walk. So just remember that the more that you're worrying, the more that you might be making yourself ill, and that's a really good thing to think about. Just let that trigger in your head that I got to stop this. Tip number 7 is stay active. And one of the things people worry about, and okay, maybe you should worry about downhill skiing, you know, and how fast you used to go, or jumping out of a plane with a parachute or something like that. Okay, maybe those are the kind of things you could worry about a little bit. But for the most part, you know, going to a party and dancing, a wedding and dancing, or maybe playing pickleball, a lot of these things, you know, you don't dwell on stress and worrying if you're active. And another way to stay active is, you know, just don't sit idle. Maybe start that new business that you always thought about, or maybe a side hustle, or maybe start a garden, but keep yourself busy. And I just find that that's a great thing. And talking about, you know, health, I just want to just backtrack a little bit. It's so important also that you do eat right, and you do go for walks, and you do exercise, and that'll just help you a little bit more. I think it's going to help you because you'll feel healthier and not worry so much. My next tip is to dwell on the present. Too many times we think about the future and what is going to happen, what possibly could happen, and the emphasis is on the word possibly can happen. It's so important that we live in the present, that maybe we're watching a funny movie, or we're making dinner, or we're doing something that does take up our time and just helps us to enjoy the moment, and that's so important. Now, I haven't talked about money or relationships or other things like that, but I think it's really, really important that you still live in the present, and you say to yourself, okay, today I have a roof over my head. Today I have food on the table, and start looking and having gratitude for all the things you do have. The other thing is hope, but also, remember how I said stay active? Be active. You know, if you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to make a plan, I'm going to get a side hustle, I'm going to do this, and you really start to work on that. First of all, you're keeping busy, you're not worrying, you're not going down that, you know, tunnel of despair. And this works for me. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur person. Boy, have I had those days where I just didn't know what even tomorrow was going to bring. But I stayed active, I stayed positive, I stayed hopeful and in gratitude. And you know what? Things 99% of the time, I'm going to say, are going to work out for you. Now, I know a lot of you watch the Loving Our Age videos for fashion ideas and beauty tips and makeup tips, but you know what? I just love talking about topics like this, topics that really I do feel from the bottom of my heart. And I actually wrote a book called Awesome Over 50. I know a lot of you have read it, and it's all about embracing, you know, this these aging chapters of your lives. And I think it's so important for me to every once in a while do a video like this. And I'd really love to know in the comments if you feel okay with that. And I'm not going to do them all the time, but I just feel kind of called to do that with you. So I'd love to know how you feel about that in the comments. So in conclusion, I think it's so important that we kind of talk about things that people can't see, like your wardrobe, and that's your well-being. So I really hope that this video, my message to you, really resonated with some of you, and you do start to worry less and play this again and listen to the tips. And I just hope that it helps you live in the present, have hope, and I think that that's just one more way that we can be loving our age.